Well, folks, we've got another update on the Canon EOS R6 Mark III. The only question is it still coming in May, or is it getting delayed? And we've also got an update on the R7 and the R10 successors. I'll break down all the information in just a moment, but if you're serious about staying up to date on the latest camera gear, then make sure to subscribe. It helps this channel grow while keeping you in the loop. We've been hearing an awful lot about the Canon EOS R6 Mark III for the past several months, that it's going to take back the crown from Nikon, the Nikon Z6 Mark III, and be the king of the segment. We've also heard that it's supposed to be coming sometime in late May. But, well, that might be changing. We've reported that Canon was scheduled to have new gear announcements in late May 2025. We expected to see new lenses, as well as get at least a new camera body. The signs have been pointing to the Canon EOS R6 Mark III, but it's also possible to get a follow-up to the EOS R7 and the EOS R10. Could be delayed. Is possible. These aren't the phrases that build confidence. I would expect if the R6 Mark III is going to be announced, or any other camera, the R7 or the R10 successor, to be announced in late May, well, we would start getting validated leak specifications now and maybe even before today. But that hasn't happened. In fact, all the latest specifications that you see rumored for the R6 Mark III are more or less conjecture. They're unvalidated. And that has me thinking that, well, maybe, just maybe, the doubt that Canon Rumors is expressing about the R6 Mark III or any camera coming in late May, well, could be well-founded. Historically, May is a big month for camera announcements. In May 2020, we got the R5 and R6 development updates. In May 2021, we got the R3 development announcement. And in May 2022, we got the R10 and the R7 announcement. But these are difficult times. They're difficult for you. They're difficult for me. And for an international company like Canon that does business in every continent on the planet, well, with the exception of Antarctica. I don't believe they have an office down there. But these are very challenging times. And I've already reported in a previous video, I think it was, what was it, Thursday or Friday of last week, that we're going to see prices go up by around 10%. And that's not just the United States, but that's all of North America and all of South America, because the United States is responsible for receiving all the cameras that come into both continents and then sends them out. So they're all drop shipped into the United States and then shipped out. And one thing I put out in that video is, Canon Japan, what you need to do right now, because it's not really fair for us outside of Canada to pay that US tariff. It's essentially an internal tax that the US people are paying. It's not something we should pay. So why don't you just go ahead and drop ship them into Toronto? It's just a couple of hours from the United States. And then Toronto can then ship them into the United States, Mexico, and all the other countries, and we don't have to pay that annoying tariff. It's just a lot of people aren't happy about it. But that all goes back to these are difficult times and that there's uncertainty, and there's an awful lot of high-level announcements going on Canon every day and even throughout this holiday weekend, because they're trying to figure out, what do we do? They have a roadmap for announcements. The R6 Mark III is definitely one of those cameras that we're supposed to be getting announced almost imminently. But there's so much in the air right now, up in the air, and we are even having trouble getting information, and that information is becoming stale very quickly. It's going out of date. But at this point, all we have on the R6 Mark III is that late May is when it's supposed to be announced. And that might still happen. A lot of these increases that we're supposed to see in North America are supposed to take place around May the 1st. And in Europe and Asia, if you think you're getting immune from that, that's not the right way to say it. If you think you're going to be able to avoid that, you're not. What I've been told just today is that you're going to see price increases as well. They're not going to be huge, not like North America, but you are going to see prices go up. So, I know this is frustrating. I'm talking about new gear here. If there is stuff that you need to get today, hard drives, SSDs, cameras, lenses, accessories, take a look at your camera store, see if they're on sale, buy them, because I think we're going to see prices go up across the board around the world. All right, now let's turn our attention to the R7 and the R10 successor. I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Yeah, I know, Ryan, we should start off with the good news, shouldn't we? All right, and the good news is really good news. We're going to see price decreases on the current R7 and the R10. And now for the bad news. Both the R7 and the R10 were scheduled to have significant price drops in the United States on May the 1st. But those price drops have now been cancelled. We are now hearing that the price drops are still going to happen in the UK and Europe, though that's not likely to change in the next couple of weeks. And the reason for the price cuts, at least for some of us, is that Canon is getting ready to announce the successor to the R7 and the R10. And that in itself is really good news, folks. I'm super excited by that because according to what Canon Rumors has said over the past couple of months, the R7, the R7 Mark II, or the R7 successor, we don't know the name of it, but it's going to get the R1 treatment. It's going to be a high-end camera. And now these are pre-tariff pricing, but we were expecting that the camera could cost anywhere between $2,000 and $2,400, or maybe $1,899 to $2,299. It's definitely going to be up there because it's not going to be, it's going to have, again, it's going to have that professional pro. It's going to be treated like a flagship professional APS-C camera. And that's really good news because at least for the past 10, 15 years, an APS-C camera has always been treated as a stepping stone to something better, something more professional, something that you as an amateur, well, you're just not ready for professional yet, so stay with APS-C. But the R7 successor, not the R7V, but the R7 successor, Canon's now realizing that, you know what, we do have a lot of professionals that use the R7, so we're going to give it that R1 treatment. We're going to treat it like a professional flagship camera that it truly is. So I'm really excited to see what comes out there. And the R10, I just hope they make the body a little bit bigger. To me, it reminds me of, let's see if I can grab it here. This is the 70D. And I was at around the 3-year mark, I was ready to upgrade this to the 80D. And the 80D came out and it really didn't do that much. It wasn't that impressive. So I waited. And then the 90D came out and I thought, I'm definitely going to get this. This was October of 2019. Went to bed, woke up, 24 frames per second was gone, and all I was gone. And I said, nope, not doing it. I'm sorry. And I spent the next several months trying to figure out what it is I wanted to get. And I wasn't sure. I kind of held off a little bit. It wasn't until I started covering on this channel the R5 that I realized that was going to be my next camera. I'm really excited to see what the R7 successor is going to be. And also we are getting an EOS RV treatment. So it looks like we're getting 2 cameras. The only question is it still happening in May? So what we have right now, we have the EOS R6 Mark III that was scheduled for late May. We also have the R7 and the R10 as well as a couple of lenses scheduled for announcement as well. Here's what I'm thinking. Because both the R7 and the R10 are scheduled to get major price cuts, and yes, it's not happening in North America right now, but because they were scheduled to get it May the 1st, that tells me that an announcement of a replacement of those 2 cameras was planned. And I would say it's still on. I would say that it's very much still on. And all Canon has to worry about is the pricing. Now at this point, it looks like they're already going to go ahead with that 10% price increase in the United States, and all of the countries that get their cameras drop shipped into the United States before going to the regional offices. So we know what the price is going to be there. And in Europe, well, it'll probably get a slight increase of maybe 2% or so to cover the additional fixed cost. So the pricing won't get in the way. And we should be good for at least the next 2.5 months until we find out what happens with these reciprocal tariffs. Again, uncertain times, unsure times. But I definitely think a refresh of at least the R10 and a lens should happen in May. The R7 successor, highly likely as well. But the R6 Mark III, a full frame camera, 2 APS-C cameras, a pair of lenses, all in May, that does sound like an awful lot. No, I'd say some of it would probably get delayed until June. Or not delayed until June, but happen in June. But that's an awful lot of conjecture. I want to read to you something that Canon Rumors recently put in one of their articles. The announcement in late May was also to include a pair of lenses, but we don't know what lenses are coming next. Canon Rumors has talked about a pair of f1.2 lenses, and we've also talked about some tilt shift lenses that are planned as well. So there's an awful lot of announcements that could come, and maybe even some Sigma announcements. So we don't know what's coming at this point, and what we did know is more or less up in the air. There's so much uncertainty right now. It's really hard to give you accurate information, and even the information we give you today could change later today. I've never seen things like this before. Even in 2020, things kind of just shut down and then we were in a waiting mode. Here, things are constantly in flux. It makes for things to be very, very exciting, but it's hard to make buying decisions. That being said, especially if you're in the Americas, if you're looking at getting camera gear and it's something you need relatively soon, within the next couple of months, take a look at prices in your camera store right now and consider purchasing today, because prices are going up, if not May the 1st, before May the 1st. And in Europe, you'll probably see a slight increase as well. There's an awful lot of uncertainty, and I wish I could somehow talk to that. One thing we know for sure is that, I mean, this is almost too obvious to mention, but with everything going on, we tend to forget this. Canon is an international company that speaks to its shareholders, and they have to generate revenue. They can't just sit back and say, let's wait to see how this thing shapes up and put all announcements on hold. They might have things a little bit on hold right now while they figure a few things out, but I can't see them not delivering something in Q2. I can't see them not delivering something in Q3 or Q4. Canon does have a lot planned for this year, and they need to get that revenue, especially with a situation such as the base tariff, because what's happening there, from what I'm seeing from some reports, is the price isn't going up by 10%. In some cases it is, but in some cases it's going up by 6 or 7%. And what that means is probably the retailer and Canon, or a combination thereof, is eating some of the tariff to lessen the extent, because the United States represents 25% of all sales that Canon Global receives. That's a big number. So they need to do their best to protect that market, and that market is already under some strain because people are not sure what's going on. There's a lot of economic uncertainty, so it might be on sale today, but will I have the job tomorrow, kind of thing. And a lot of people are kind of sitting back. So whatever Canon can do to protect the price, if anything, they need to lower prices and not raise prices. And that's why this is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very dangerous. They got to be very careful what they do. And I can tell you this, at Canon Global, they are having lots of very high level, very senior meetings that are happening well late into the night. And this is happening throughout the holidays because this situation is changing on a daily basis. They're not just looking at the pricing and the announcements, but they're also looking at the components inside their cameras. What happened last week is the US further clarified that tariffs could go up to 245% on Chinese products. And some components are sourced out of China that go into these cameras. They're not made in China, but they're assembled and built in Japan. But some of those parts will come from Germany, from Canada, from China, from, well, you'd be amazed at how many components go into these cameras. You take a look at that circuit board, all the components, it's just absolutely amazing. So as soon as I have more information, something a bit more exacting, I'll be sure to let you know. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit all notifications so you can stay up to date on the latest and greatest. And a big thanks to all of you that do follow me on this channel. It's very much appreciated. If you are looking at purchasing any gear in the United States, please consider using my affiliate links down below to both Adorama and B&H. I also have Amazon.com. If you're in Canada, I have Patrick at Downtown Camera. And if you're in Mexico, Brazil, or somewhere else and you have a retail store, let me know and I'll start adding your information to my site as well. And actually, if you're from WEX in the UK, if you're also in Germany, I'm trying to reach out and set up affiliate links with you guys as well. So you get, well, people that are watching my channel want to buy stuff, they'll come to you. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching to the very end. Have yourself a great weekend, a great Easter weekend, and we'll see you again soon.